I was driving into Toronto this week with a friend, and we talked about the movie we had seen, Darkest Hour. And I thought, what a great performance Gary Oldman gave, and how amazing. Like, it was such a great portrayal of Winston Churchill that he took on the total persona, so I no longer saw the actor, but the character he was presenting, which was amazing. It was amazing. It was great. I was caught up in it. It was absolutely fantastic. And we shared that, and then he says, he was very lonely. And I thought, yes. And then my friend said, leaders usually are, leaders are usually lonely because nobody can hear them. Nobody shares their vision. It's like they're alone with this thought and this vision and something that's inside them that they got to do. And they can't convince anybody else of it. You can't, very rarely can you convince somebody else to come along too. And people might follow you, be followers and follow you. But if you stop and ask them to think for themselves or what they really think, then you might find they don't even share your similar thoughts. They're just around you because you seem to know where you're going. And they might hate you or despise you because you're not like them. So leaders don't listen to them. Leaders have the ability to be given a vision and a quest and then accomplish it. Trying to help those around them and bring them along for the ride if they want to go, even though they know they don't have the full recognition or awareness of where you're going with this. So being a leader is brave enough to voice a new idea or a new thought that no one's come out with. And you have the courage to come forward and say that because you're risking being judged, thought crazy, or dismissed, or not being heard. And you think, well, if I'm not being heard, why do it anyway? Well, maybe that's what you're meant to be doing, so you do it. Lost my train of thought. Lonely. Going back to the loneliness of leaders. It is lonely when you're a leader because not everybody is where you are and been given the same task you have. So God meets you in the family that you're at and in the situation that you're at and gives you a task and says, go for it where you are. And if you are moving from the kingdom in a higher awareness and others around you can't hear you, I think that's the hardest because you're there to help, that you're there to speak truth and clarity. And then when you do and they don't react to it, then you go, oh, like they can't hear me, they don't get it. But you keep on anyway. The other loneliness comes from when you are so high in the kingdom and so filled with love and knowing and the information that you just got to share it. Like you just want to come out and share it with everybody. And then you share it with people that can't hear you, and you share it with people that don't know, and you share it, and you know, and you have a knowing inside you're a God servant, this is coming through you, and things are all lining up to prove that you're exactly where you need to be, doing what you need to do as a leader, and then not falling into the doubt that, oh, because I'm not like everybody else, I won't be liked, or I won't get their approval, or I might lose friends. I might end up alone. Because it's way more fun to share the kingdom with somebody than it is to be in it. Even though, like, you're always with God, you're always with the Christ, but the consciousness. But it's just nice to sit across from somebody and share what you get, and go higher in the spiritual kingdom together. That's why I talk so much about twin flames, is because that's that mirror reflection. You seek out the mirror reflection at the frequency to which you are vibrating, and you do have only other one match for that vibrational frequency that's unique, that's yours. So you search for that. So you look for that. And sometimes it's trusting that when that vibrational frequency that matches yours is meant to show up, it will. And in the meantime, keep being the vibration and sending it out. And eventually, the energy frequency will reach the people it's meant to reach, the person that it's meant to reach. I think that's where the faith comes in, is having that faith. And then the knowing of it comes in. I don't know, it's just something you know. Am I really alone? And if I'm not, how do I know that? I don't know. I think I was listening to an artist on the radio, and he says, I didn't write that song. That song came through me. And when you have that type of attitude and type of respect for the universe and for yourself as a recognized limited being, paying homage to the greater power and the source that comes through us all, I think when you are in that place, more is given to you, more comes through. So that Winston Churchill, being a leader, listened to himself, followed what he was guided to do, despite incredible opposition that was thrown in his face. That's why I think the other movie, Bohemian Rhapsody with Queen, oh, that's so fantastic, because they were going to make the Night at the Opera, and despite all that opposition, they still carried through, followed their guidance, believed in themselves and where they were above all. And they had each other. The four of them had each other, and it feels like the majority of them were able to believe in that. If not all of them, I hope they all shared that belief. It seems that they did. And just believing in themselves that they're different and that they weren't going to follow the rules. They were going to make the rules. That is leadership. That movie, for me, just empowered me to believe in myself and to continue to do the things I'm guided to do, even though it's different than yours, even though it looks different than yours. That's okay, it's supposed to. Joseph Campbell, our inner work begins with ourselves. When we realize we're on a hero's journey, we're on that journey to find ourselves and to find our spiritual side, our place here, actually, he says it's just to be. The greatest thing you could do is just be here. And with all our faults and our flaws and our questions and our knowing, our not knowing, and the acts we commit out of ignorance and low frequency, to let that all go, and to, here I am today on this beautiful day, the sun is shining, I'm following my guidance, I'm recognizing the beauty around me, to ferret the beauty before me, beauty behind me, beauty to my right, beauty to my left, beauty above me, beauty below me. I am surrounded by beauty. I am surrounded by beauty, to ferret. And Tiferet is the heart center. It is the center of the spirit. It is in the heart that when we move from our lower animalistic characteristics and ways of being and thinking, we move up to that spiritual self that we are, that exists in our heart, and that holiness, that divinity that radiates out from us, that goes unrecognized because we are conditioned to believe the only divinity is God in Christ, but the divinity is God's creation in us. And that we are that frequency spirit, that God moving out through us every single day, every moment. And when we respect and see our holiness, our sacredness, and our divinity, we're recognizing, oh, wait, it's not me, it's God through me. And that's going on all the time. So I better respect what I say, respect what I do, respect myself as this being here witnessing what is happening, and then letting go of the idea that the thoughts and what's happening is truth, but what's really happening is God's working more and more through us. God's working more and more through us to awaken us, to call us into the kingdom. So look for those signs, look for those people, look for the direction He's giving you to follow Him, to come to Him, to surrender to Him in the sense that you are that servant and you give no thought for what the results will be, whether good or bad for yourself. You just want to be that servant. And that all comes out of your love for your relationship with God and how you have been blessed by Him in so many ways, with so many miracles. How could you not keep trusting Him? How could you not keep wanting to give Him her more and more and more, because you get more and more? It's not because you do, because you get it. It's just the evidence of being a servant brings good things into your life. I admire our leaders, and the one documentary that's playing right now is on Jane Fonda, and watching her life story, oh, what an inspiration. What a self-actualized self-woman person she is, in her transparency and her desire to move mankind forward and awaken their fellow man is so great that she has made this documentary and allowed us to see inside of her life, her successes and her failures, and her vulnerability and everything she thinks and feels. She speaks so transparent, so real. How can you not love her? How can you not respect her journey and her walk? What a magnificent star among us. Star, and we say that she's a great actress in Hollywood in a movie, but star, and then her light is great. Her light is great, and it continues and has shone and continues to shine. And oh boy, is she on my bucket list to meet her and Lily Tomlin. Can't wait to meet them. Meeting other leaders, meeting other self-actualized individuals, that's where I'm going. Hope to see you there. Thank you.